Today we're going to talk about devices and foster parenting. Hey, we're Peter and Lisa Hoppy, we're foster parents, and we make weekly videos about our foster care journey and what we're learning. Subscribe if you're not already. So recently we had a bunch of kids throughout the summer, and specifically, especially with 4 teenagers that had lots of devices, we learned a lot of things. So today we're going to share what we did, what we learned, and what we think we're going to try next.
So we already knew that we did want devices turned in the evening before bedtime. And as foster parents, you have the right to be able to say that. And any teen that came this summer that had a phone, we just said, hey, at 10 o'clock or before you go to bed, whichever, I guess comes first, that the phone would be turned in. Then the girls, while they were here, they mentioned that on school nights, what their foster mom does is actually take it at 8 p.m. So we're like, well, that sounds good because you shouldn't be going to bed necessarily at 10 p.m. on a school night. And so we, liked that idea. But outside of that, we didn't really have any other parameters set. Almost any free time that they had, they wanted to be able to be on a device.
And at first we were like, okay, well maybe we don't need like a ton of rules and like restrictions and like how much time you can spend on a device or when and where, this kind of thing. Because we're like, well, we'll just have fun activities that we'll plan to do to keep them busy, that they'll not be on their phone because they'll be playing games or going for a hike, going for a walk, going to see friends or whatever it is. Like, we're going to do something active that'll take you out of your phone and away from your phone.
But that didn't work.
What we found is that a lot of times, they would just obviously be on the phone wherever it was we went, whether that was when we're hanging out with friends or at a park, on the swings, whatever. It was always bringing that phone out.
Yeah, and so it was hard to have conversations, and in the car you have a lot of time, and I was actually driving them to a different school district, and so I had a lot of time. I don't want to just be a chauffeur while everyone's face is in their device, and so we tried to have a conversation about it. We came at it the complete wrong way, and it didn't go very well, but we reeled it back in. Because at first we were just like, okay, how about just 2 hours a day on your phone? Because we thought that was pretty fair. And here's where we realized when we had given them unlimited time and then trying to reel it back in, it seemed like too much. And they
pushed back hard. So then we said, okay,
yeah,
it sounds like you would like a compromise. So what's a compromise that you'd like to ask for? So something between what, too much that we were experiencing and between what we're asking with the 2-hour limit per day.
So I wasn't 100% excited about what we decided on, but one of the other things was they were also in their rooms most of the day on their phones. I didn't like that they were just upstairs all the time on their devices. Yeah, so what the compromise was they could be on it as much as they wanted as long as they were down here. And then if they wanted to, but then they pushed back because a lot of them are disconnected from their families. And so they want conversations with their caseworker or with their brothers or sisters or aunts or uncles or mom and dad, boyfriend. And they want those conversations to be private. And so I get that. And so we said, you can have an hour upstairs a day. And I don't still know if I like that idea. So that's what we did, but we're not saying that's 100% great, but before you have kiddos in your house, think about what you want and then have a game plan. So having them down here,
set those expectations at the beginning. So when they come and they're like, okay, this is the house rules of while I'm here, this is the way it's going to be.
Yeah.
And they'll be fine with that.
So at least having them down here, they were all different on the couch, at the table. They were still, oh, I'm playing a game. Okay, yes, it was much easier to get them to hop into playing a game because the table's right there versus me going up, knocking on their door, and they're like, can I come in? Okay, yes, I can come in. Okay, do you want to come down for a game? Oh, okay, yes, in a little bit. And then 15-minute process, coming down the stairs. Another thing is I think this is not quite with devices, but kind of is that during the daytime to always have their bedroom doors open, and unless they're changing, or something like that. But Otherwise, they should have that bedroom door open. We also ran into some issues with that, and we've come to find out like their foster mom, that's what she had done. And so I just didn't know, and it was so good to learn from their foster mom. She is a very experienced foster mom, and so I was able to learn from her. And that is, I think, such great advice, is during the daytime, they don't need to have that door shut. I think at nighttime it's great when they're sleeping, but during the daytime, always have that door open, so that I can just walk in and just talk with them, and then it wouldn't be so closed off. We did put devices away for meal times as well, and that was really good, and they didn't argue with that at all, so that was awesome. And in the morning, so what we did later on was we ended up bringing the devices to our room, because we had like a whole setup of chargers and all of this stuff, so it was a lot to make sure that, because at first when we were just keeping them out here above the refrigerator, they were waking up in the morning, the devices weren't charged, and so they asked us if we could charge it, and so it was just easy for us to charge all in our room. And so we would give their devices back in the morning after they had breakfast and were all ready to go to school, because once school started, I didn't want them to get on their device first thing in the morning and then realize, oh, it's time to get in the car to go and I'm not ready yet. I didn't want devices at all in the car ride. And then one of the compromises, because they had pushed back on that, we asked for if they wanted to compromise, and we decided that on the way to school they could listen to their music, and then on the way back we would talk about their day. And that didn't always go, because sometimes they were just not wanting to talk and I wasn't wanting to push it too much. And so but if I was talking with them, they were a lot better about that, because I had that expectation set. Sometimes I did collect their phones, but sometimes it was just, we were just talking afterwards while they were still on their devices. But it was a good way to just, set the expectations that I didn't want them to just be in their phone the whole time. And it's not just about me, right? It's because we want to teach them communication and to be able to be present where they are.
At first, there were times where they were trying to be on their phone or device while they're playing a game, or have like an earbud and listening to something, and so it's like you're half present, and that's not good. So what we learned is set those clear expectations from the beginning, have those clear rules, figure out a game plan. So what are we going to do different next time? I do think setting up several limitations would be good, just to help them learn those skills of being present. So saying things like no phones at the dinner table or no phones during meal times. I would say probably shutting down phones maybe even 2 hours. I would say at least 1 hour before bedtime. But then what we saw was a lot of times they wouldn't want to do anything like take a shower or play a game or anything until phone time was over. So maybe we say like 2 hours, so we have like 1 hour to kind of hang out together, 1 hour to just wind down and you can read a book or whatever. But
some of them were like saying that they didn't have homework too, because I did also say, hey, like you need to get your homework done, before you're on your devices all the time. But again, for the older kids, I wasn't too hard about that, because they were able to do both at the same time. And that's the thing, is you want to give them the ability to be able to learn now, but you have to have some structure, because they may not have had structure when they were younger, when that's when they should have really been introduced, because like really young kids like shouldn't have any screen time, right? And then like kids, what is it, like 3 and up, like maybe 2 hours of time, and then a little bit more when they get a little bit older, but at like age like 12 and up, it's supposed to be you giving them the freedom to do it, but that's if you've already had that structure set up. And so because they may not have had that structure set up when they were younger, they never really learned how to manage their devices, and they're kind of letting it manage their own time.
And to be honest, a lot of adults, a lot of us, don't do well with that either. And it's a constant reminder that obviously with more and more devices, we need to stay present and actually talk to people that we're around. Like when we're at the grocery store or whatever, like look up and greet people. Like don't just be down on our phone the whole time we're waiting in a line or something. Say hi to people, talk to people. I think encouraging us, being an example to them, and then helping them build those skills of being present and building relationships with those that they're around. But what are your thoughts? What has worked for you, whether it's with your own biological or foster children, and especially like, you know, when you're in the scenario where you're parenting kids that aren't used to maybe any restrictions on that kind of thing, what has worked for you with introducing those rules in a way that doesn't come across too harsh, or like they think you're a hippie because and just think that you don't.
Guys, we were accused of being hippies. It was the funniest thing ever.
They're like the vibe you guys give off is that you can just be without, you know, electronics completely, and you don't like them at all. Like, you guys, people that know us would laugh. Like, I spend a lot of time on electronics. I mean, like, we like them.
Yes.
We do a lot with them, but you just gotta kind of limit some things a little bit more, that's all.
We definitely feel like we still have a lot to learn in this area, so please let us know what you have found works really good with helping teach kids how to effectively use their devices, so it doesn't completely just like waste their time and their life away, because that is just really sad to see, and we don't want that for these wonderful, wonderful kids. So thanks so much for watching. Make sure to subscribe if you are not already, and we will see you in the next video. Bye, guys.
See ya. By the way, that was not a slam on any hippies, so don't take offense to that. We drove around in a 1972 Volkswagen bus for a while, so, you know.